And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. Fanboys, LeBron James fanboys, LeBron James fanboys. Happy Fanboy Friday, everybody. This is a good one because this week it has been so many people expressing themselves freely about the Duck. I don't recall another time since the Duck has been in the NBA where people have just been freely expressing their displeasure, their distaste for the false king. And we got us another one. Shout out to Dreamers Pro. Shout out to Too Raw for Sports because I saw them both cover this. Craig Carlton from the Breakfast Ball podcast absolutely said 100% how he feels about LeBron James and his need to respond to everything. His need to respond to people saying that he has no bag because he doesn't. And again, LeBron James exposes himself because he obviously pays attention to social media. He obviously feels the need to respond to so many things, except those allegations, except anything to do with P. Diddy, but everything else he can respond to. So I feel like that in itself tells you a nothing. But yeah, so without further ado, my people, let's get into this clip.
50 billion points, a lot of points. I had no idea it was that many.
Insufferable. He really is. He's a billionaire. He's earned everything that's come his way. He's a great God-given talent, and he obviously busts his ass to stay in shape and all that stuff. But we're complaining about anonymous dudes in their basements that are trolling you, and that really bothers you. And you're asking Steve Nash to agree with you, and Fat Luca to be like, "You're the best. You have 50 billion points. You're the crush." That's why he's just insufferable. And even his highly paid media members who cover for him every week for 52 weeks a year, as long as he's on the planet, eat that crap up. It's disgusting to me. And that's why he'll never be Michael Jordan. Ugh, okay. I see it all the time on social media. LeBron doesn't have a bag. No, you just have more finals losses than a human being on the planet. Sorry, not sorry. You've done nothing in LA. You can win without having a super team. No one counts that championship. And keep complaining about all the lack of pieces you have year after year after year when you're another one-and-done situation and a gentleman's sweep in the playoffs. Everyone says I don't have a bag. Then shut everybody up, find a bag, and go win a title, which you won't do in LA.
There you go, people. That is how you express yourself unfiltered about the Duck. So before we get into this, for you LeBron James fanboys, let's read the definition of insufferable, because this is what he said about your false king. He said LeBron James is insufferable. So let's read the definition so you guys fully understand what he is talking about. Insufferable. Too extreme to bear, intolerable. Also, having or showing unbearable arrogance or conceit. Let me read that last one more time. Having or showing unbearable arrogance or conceit. So, dare I say, he is right on the money when he says LeBron James is Insufferable. So he talked about the fact that, like I said, LeBron James has to get up there on the Mind Games podcast, on the No Bag podcast, on the Let's Fake Some Injuries Every Time We Lose podcast, on the interview couch for a new coaching job for the Lakers podcast, on the Everything Except What It's Supposed to Be About podcast, on the It's Just a Game, people. It's just a game. It's just basketball podcast. LeBron James gets up there and he says, people on social media, say I have no bag or whatever. And again, LeBron James on this podcast really seems to be a podcast to address everything that is said about him, about the fans, from the fans. Everything that we've been saying about him. This is what this podcast seems to really be, is a chance for him to address all these things. To say that Miami isn't a super team, to make excuses for 2011, just anything that you can name, to defend Bronny, to say that he doesn't meddle in Bronny's business. He has never interfered with the coaches who have coached Bronny. This podcast seems to be just a podcast specifically so that LeBron James can try and respond to everything that is said about him from real basketball fans, from fans who understand he's not the GOAT, from fans who doesn't have him in the top 5 or top 10, for fans who believe he shouldn't be ranked among the greats at all, for fans who says his whole career is manufactured, for fans who doesn't think any of his championships are valid because they've always been with super teams, for fans who don't respect him because he's a flopper and a whiner and a complainer, for fans who don't respect him because he has an excuse for everything. This is what this podcast is. Now, Craig Carlton said something at the very end. I want to play this part one more time. He actually said a whole lot. But this part at the end here, fanboys, you guys should pay very close attention to what Craig Carlton has to say right here. Let's play this.
Everyone says I don't have a bag. Then shut everybody up, find a bag, and go win a title, which you won't do in LA.
Well, shut everybody up, find a bag, go win a title. When you LeBron James fanboys, when the fanboys in mainstream media talk about poor LeBron and how much criticism he's received, even though he hasn't had any criticism that any other superstar doesn't suffer. The problem is LeBron James is weak and sensitive, because how you deal with criticism, the solution to criticism is to fix those things that people criticize you for. That's the solution. When they said Michael Jordan couldn't shoot, he developed into a lethal mid-range shooter. When they said maybe he didn't play enough defense, he won Defensive Player of the Year. When they said, hey, a scoring champion cannot win championships, he did it 6 times, each and every single time that he won a championship. Michael Jordan was criticized, but the difference between Michael Jordan and the Duck is that Michael Jordan heard the criticisms And he just simply got better and shut everybody up to where you can't have a criticism for him anymore. Because everything you tried to have a criticism for, he proved you wrong. That's the solution to criticism, LeBron James fanboys. So what Larry Carlton, here, let me play this one more time for you guys. What he said at the end here is spot on.
Everyone says I don't have a bag. Then shut everybody up, find a bag, and go win a title, which you won't do in LA.
That's right. You won't know. He won't do that anywhere because that is not LeBron James' style. LeBron James, there are so many criticisms out there about you that you could have fixed in your going on 23-year career. There are so many criticisms about you that you could have fixed. Not having a bag is only one of them. Not being a good free throw shooter. Only being able to play in the system. Not being a good off the ball player. Not being coachable. Not being loyal. Being a flopper. Whining and complaining while wanting to accept the praise for being so in shape. These are all things you could have fixed. Being ungrateful and selfish by not giving your teammates who have saved your career their proper due, their proper thanks, their proper appreciation, like Michael Jordan did for Scottie Pippen. I would say Michael Jordan overly praised Scottie Pippen. But we don't hear LeBron James heap praise upon Kyrie Irving. We don't hear LeBron James heap praise upon Ray Allen and Anthony Davis and all these players who helped save him. We don't hear that. So LeBron James, in 23 years of you getting criticized, the solution is to fix the criticisms, not to complain about getting criticized. But anyway, I got one more clip here. Let's check out this second clip.
We're not saying that he wouldn't invent reasons like social media to fuel him to win, 7 straight, 8 straight, 9 straight. Remember, he never lost the championship. Your hero has lost a lot of them. But it was never his fault because he just didn't have enough talent around him.
He was an underdog in all the finals he lost except for the Dallas.
But here's the deal. Would he have used it? I'm not saying he wouldn't have used it. He wouldn't talk about it. This guy's insufferable. He just is. He has no self-awareness at all. And much like Tom Brady played in the era of social media, never heard him talk about what people say about him online, but I'm sure he uses his fuel to go win another championship and another one. But I don't know what it is with you. And it's the only thing that really bothers me when I go to bed at night.
Go ahead.
You're from Chicago.
I worship at the altar of Michael Jordan.
But you don't.
I do. This is a LeBron story, Greg, and you bring up Michael Jordan. They didn't play each other.
Yes, but I'm asking you to pick one.
Michael Jordan.
But it never seems like it.
Okay, so they kind of got into the discussion though if Michael Jordan grew up in this era, and he said, hey, if Michael Jordan grew up in the social media era, he would use that as fuel to win 7, 8, 9 championships. And this is fact. I've done videos on this before, this notion that somehow Michael Jordan wouldn't deal with the social media era. For someone who was constantly looking for fuel to motivate himself, for someone who used to actually make up stories like LeBradford Smith to motivate himself, being in the social media era, he would have unlimited fuel. And then to top it off, he would be playing in the easiest era of the NBA. Michael Jordan would probably have 12 championships. LeBron James wouldn't have 10 finals appearances if Michael Jordan was in this same era. He also brought out the fact that about the narrative that LeBron never has help every time he loses. LeBron can't win because he never has any help. This is, again, the things that we have been saying on social media for years, or even, in the barbershop. So when we're just having conversations in our everyday life, because I've only been on YouTube for a couple of years, but I talk about basketball with my brothers and friends and whatnot. And these same conversations, these observations that we have had about the duck, the deer, the leader of the 4 and 6 kingdom, that we have been having these conversations for years, again, it's not just us who sees it. People see this, and it is finally starting to make its rounds. It is finally starting to make its rounds from people who have a bigger voice. And that means LeBron James has destroyed itself. LeBron James waging war against the media this past year, specifically with Stephen A. Smith, but against media too, because LeBron James said, oh, well, who would want to be the face of the NBA when all they do is criticize our league? That's weird. LeBron James waging war against mainstream media, and like I said, him getting Bronny in the league and JJ Redick, he put his foot in his mouth this season, and it's all crashing down. So, LeBron James fanboys, what can I say? Like I said, you guys, not as many of you guys have been showing up in the comments lately. And I would imagine that's because you feel the inevitable and you don't want to hear me say, I told you so, because I did tell you so. You see the inevitable that's happening. Now, some of you who are still in my comments defending LeBron James, you guys, like I said, you guys are pathetic and sad in a way that has no words. But I would imagine that even the most diehard LeBron James fans, and what I mean by diehard is the type of fans who would make an R&B love song for LeBron James, you guys, even you guys have to feel that, your king has really ruined his reputation. And, it is what it is at this point. But we're going to hold up here. I'm sure it'll be more to come. Like I said, people, next year, this is going to be even worse. Michael Jordan is going to be back on NBC. This is going to be a lot worse. I feel like we're going to see some very strange things from LeBron James next season, because he's not going to know how to handle being faced with the real GOAT more frequently. He's not going to know how to handle seeing Michael Jordan having everything that he wants. And I would argue the main thing is just that respect. He's not going to be able to handle seeing how Michael Jordan is respected compared to him. LeBron James is just a big kid, and I feel like, his peers in general may talk about him positively, and I feel like that's because they're his peers, and a lot of them don't have the courage to be completely honest about LeBron James. So his peers may talk glowingly about LeBron James, but you can tell his peers do not respect him the same way Michael Jordan's peers does. It's not even close. Again, when Michael Jordan is around everybody else, it's just a certain energy that you can tell is in the room. When LeBron James is around people, it's like the popular guy that nobody likes. You know, it's like being around the popular guy that nobody likes. It's like everybody knows he's an a-hole, but nobody wants to say it because he's popular right now. And so nobody wants to be the one to call it out. But everybody knows it. But everybody just goes along with it. That's how LeBron James' peers treat him. It's like the big spoiled kid, you know, who if you say something negative against you, he may try to blackball you in some way or, you know, get something taken away from you because he's an entitled, spoiled brat. But when Michael Jordan is around, that's how you see someone who is respected for what they accomplished and how they accomplished it. That's what you see when people interact with Michael Jordan. You see someone who is revered for being phenomenal at what they did, for being levels above everyone else. And like I said, and it's not just the skill set, it's not just the aesthetically pleasing game, but it is how he did it. It is the mentality. It is the mind of a competitor. It is the mind of a killer. And that is what people respect, is the guy who didn't give up, the guy who didn't jump ship, the guy who put in the work to be as great as he could possibly be at the game of basketball and never cheated the game and competed hard every night, whether he was at 100% or he had the flu. You know, no matter what kind of knick-knack injuries he had, or like in the Washington Wizards when he actually injured his knee and was pretty much limping the whole next year. You know, Tyronn Lue talked about, or maybe it was Brendan Haywood or somebody else who played with Michael Jordan, but talked about him having to have black tar drained from his knees after each game. You know, this is why Michael Jordan is respected. It is because of how he accomplished what he accomplished. LeBron James will never, ever experience what that level of respect is like, and neither will you LeBron James fanboys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.